Good morning, good morning. I thought you were the man of my dream. Me and Brittany were singing, what's that song?
Every day, Brittany. Every day.
He wasn't man enough for me, which I didn't have. So
I like we have another guest.
We do. Hello. Let's introduce ourselves. So I'm Abby of Journeys and Ambitions. You are?
Jennifer, the J
Of
Journeys and Ambitions.
And who are you, girl? Hey.
I am Brittany. I am one of Abby's friends and a fellow choir mate in the Houston Show Choir.
Yay!
And a super fan.
Yes.
Yes.
We brought Brittany on today because she tunes in to every single show. I was sending her the links, and she was so on top of it that she was on the show waiting, saying, good morning, waiting on y'all, before I would even send her the link. It's not
that hard to do with us. I would like to promote the fact that I was already sitting when it started.
Today, we were on top of it. I was on top because we had a guest. Maybe we didn't have guests, and that'll kind of force us to be.
That could be a thing.
More on top of it. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about confront or comfort. Ooh, can I get some sound effects? Ooh. And so we're obviously going to be talking about, confrontation. And are you a confrontational person, or are you kind of more the type of person who stays in your comfort zone and things like that? So before we get started, I want to know what we all think about that topic, about confrontation. How do we feel?
I think like confrontation. Start over. Confrontation doesn't have to have a negative tone, right? It's we think confrontation of the word is like a fight, like we're gonna,
confrontation.
A confrontation, I guess, is a fight, right? But also confronting your feelings or confronting somebody, or it's like also just standing your ground, but in a powerful way to yourself. Right.
Yeah.
Not to be like a hippie right now or anything, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. And I don't think conflict has a negative connotation, but I think confrontation isn't always like that. Sometimes it's literally just like advocating for yourself,
right? Right.
Yeah.
And then, or staying in your comfort zone, right? Which is super easy to do. But I like to stay in my comfort zone. I'm not gonna lie.
I do too. Brittany, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. I mean, comfort zone, it's what you know the best, but sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone to make the necessary changes that you got to make.
That's right. Are you the type of person, are you like let's say you feel some type of way, and the choir is a good setting because it's not necessarily a job, but it's not just a social group either. So let's say, because these are people you have to continue to deal with, right? So let's say, if someone rubs you the wrong way, or you think they're saying something like offensive even, how do you, are you the type of person that just kind of brush it off? Do you let it get to a certain point maybe before you bring something up? How do you address things like that?
So me personally, I tend to brush things off until they get to a head or a boiling point with me. And then sometimes I'm very hot-headed. I'm probably not the best person to be being confrontational with, because I can say things that can probably really hurt your feelings. And, and I'm not the type of person that wants to make somebody feel like that. But, especially in a choir setting, since there's so many of us, it's easy to kind of brush things off and maybe avoid the person or whatever. But I try to be friendly with everybody as much as possible, and sometimes either goes good or either goes bad. You never know.
I think we're like that too.
Yeah, I'm the type of person, I let a lot of things, it takes a lot to truly bother me. It really does. I'm a pretty easygoing person.
That's another question too, right? I think they're among my peers, among my friends, they'll talk about stuff and I'm like, I mean, why is that a big deal? Why are you even bothered by that? Especially with someone I don't give a, if I don't really care and they have some kind of opinion about me, I'm like, I don't really have a great opinion of them either. So I don't care,
And yeah, when it comes to my friendships that have nothing to do with any sort of organization or anything I'm part, they're strictly just friends and we're friends only. It really takes a lot to bother me. And a lot of it I would let slide because it's most of the time I believe, and I think we talked about this last time. I think people are inherently good and have good intentions.
Right.
And so unless, it comes to a point where I'm like, all right, I feel like we're not coming from a good place anymore, then I'll bring it up. But for things like the choir or even work, if it's on a personal level, I try not to bring things up because I like to keep the peace. You know what I'm saying? Now at work, I am in a leadership role. So there are things that I have to confront, and I've gotten better with that as I've went from like my last job to the current job that I have now. And I was in a leadership role in both of them. And my last job, it was very hard for me to confront things and like to be that kind of more of like authority figure. But now if I see something is off, I bring it up right away.
Shouldn't have a problem at home. I don't know.
I don't have a problem confronting you either.
And
Sorry.
no problems at all. Daily.
But yeah, I think I do kind of like what Brittany said. I kind of, depending on the circumstance, I will let things get to a point and then I pop off and then I act out of character.
But I would think that those are people like that you actually care about, or there's a situation you actually care about, right? So you love going to the choir. So if someone's bothering you, and I would say that one time, maybe, okay, whatever. But if it escalates, like that's a place you like to go. So that's going to be important to you to have a peaceful surroundings when you're at choir.
Yeah.
Or if you're at work, somewhere you have to go every day, or in your home. If it's somebody at your, grocery store, some lady who gives you a side eye and says something, I mean, why?
Why waste your time?
Why waste your time and energy, right? But if it's something that's important to you and your surroundings, I would say that you have to confront that. Again, not necessarily in an angry way, like the best way considering, whatever that option, whatever's going on.
And it's different for every instance too. Like, in certain settings, I may not say something, but like very direct, but I'll give hints that like what you're doing. Like I'm very good. I call myself a wordsmith. I'm very good with my words. Huh?
Nothing.
What'd you say?
You said wordsmith. I don't know. Just repeating it.
Vocabulary.
Yeah. I like it.
I'm a wordsmith, so I will find a way to like say what I want to say without saying it. And at that point, after a couple of my little dropping hints, if you still don't get it, first of all, you're stupid.
Wow.
Sorry, I don't make sense.
Some people are not. There's very smart people who don't catch passive aggressiveness or sarcasm. You do. You and I do.
Oh, okay. I was like, girl.
I'm just saying sometimes you have to be direct.
That's true, because I sometimes don't.
I drop some hints too, and then people don't get it. And I'm like, really, though?
We're going to talk about you. I want to hear.
I feel like I just opened a can of worms I wasn't expecting.
You did. I do want to talk about you. But right. Brittany, so.
Can't wait.
Is there like a time where you feel like you were kind of like pushed to a corner and you had to confront something? Or maybe the opposite? Maybe you were like, you knew you should have confronted something, but you didn't?
More times than not, it's more of like, I knew I should have did something and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always situations, always in hindsight, where I'm like, oh, well, I could have handled that better, or I could have said something or done something better, or took the time to like even educate somebody, because it happens a lot, like with situations that I always end up being in. But one thing like that I do know is that, like, even though I can seem like I come off as a confrontational person, I kind of try to avoid conflict quite a bit. Because like, even in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I don't want that person mad at me, or I don't want to have the situation be awkward later or anything like that. But I also do too feel like that it's easier to confront somebody if it's somebody that you already know, like your mom was saying, somebody that you already care about, because at least that, a lot of times a person says, okay, well, it's coming from like a good place or something like that.
Yeah.
But girl, you just never know.
I will say, and I used to make fun of old people. I know, I realize I'm one now, but
yeah,
I do that joke like, you kids get off my lawn. You know how old people get like super cranky and mean? My dad, who I did send the link to my mom, so I don't know if my dad's watching, but Dad, you've gotten cranky if you are.
Does he know how to use the link?
Probably not, but I did send it in the easiest way. So, but like I kind of would joke, like as my dad got older, he just like his filter like went away, and he would just say cranky things, and I just like laugh, like, what is wrong with you? And I am now turning into that. Where like
I don't care.
Not that I don't care. I still care. I'm not 70 yet, but I still care. But I'm like more apt to just, here's what I think of that, and not like even sugarcoat it, right? Like where I felt like I used to do more sugarcoating or more passive aggressiveness, or just, comfort zone and just saying, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to, or silent treatment. I'm really good at the silent treatment. Like I can ignore you for days. Like,
Oh, yeah.
You know, but I try not to do that. I like now I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to tell you.
I think there is an added layer of comfort when it's someone you're really close to. And, you know, they say you treat the people closest to you the worst because you know that they're going to love you regardless.
Oh, you do love me.
I do. But I get real snippy with my mom, probably more than most people, because she's my mom. She's going to love me unconditionally anyway, no matter how bitchy I get with her.
I think daughters do that in general. I'm kind of like that with my mom, even though I love her to death, but I can be very snippy to her.
Yeah, like the other day, I actually felt bad. It was like Saturday morning and I was getting ready. I wake up, it's like 8 a.m. and I'm showering. She goes, do you have plans today? Like, duh, Jennifer, I'm showering at 8 a.m. On a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't have plans, I would wait till 2 p.m. to shower. Let's start with that. And then I also don't like being asked a ton of questions. And she was asking a lot of questions. And you were like, well, what are your plans today? Where are you going? What time? And I'm like, oh my, like, do I have to give you?
That's how she reacts anytime I ask a question.
And then I felt bad because then she was like, I just want to see if you want to go get breakfast. I'm like, oh, I'm terrible. I'm awful. I'm an awful daughter. Not really. I'm great. I did want to go get breakfast.
I
do think, you know, you kind of have that layer of comfort with people that you're close to where like you might be, and I think there's also a bigger desire to resolve the issue too. You know what I'm saying? Like if someone really close to me and like rubbed me the wrong way and like I can tell that they don't know that they rubbed me the wrong way, or it's like continuing, it's like ongoing, then I know that I need to address it because you're close to me. I'm going to have to deal with this all the time. So I'm like going to be more confrontational than with someone I like kind of just see in passing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, they rubbed me the wrong way, but I have a thick skin. I can handle that.
I'm saying, I think it's like, sometimes I just figure this stuff out as we're on the show, but I think that the more that someone's willing to, you know, confront you with something they're uncomfortable with, or vice versa, is actually like the more you actually care about your involvement in that person's life.
Yeah.
But, you know, or the opposite. Do you want to do comments? Because
Yeah.
I feel like we have a lot.
We do have a lot of comments. I want to read some of them. So we have some people saying good morning. Happy Friday. Good morning, everyone. Alyssa Sanchez. Hello. Never seen you before.
Oh, that's my friend.
Oh, hey, friend.
Good morning, Alyssa.
She's feeling the energy. Michelle Lamb says, hey, ladies. Michelle's going to be the one.
Michelle's going to be a guest host in two weeks.
In 2 weeks. She's going to take over for Jennifer over here. So that'll be fun.
I'm going to cruise, and Michelle is going to be the M
Gen
instead
X.
of the J. It's going to be M and A.
Yeah.
Well, milestones and ambitions. I just made that up.
She's going to be the Gen X. I'm the Gen Z. And Brittany over here is the millennial. I love making fun of her. She's a millennial.
Yeah, she does.
Everyone's saying good morning. Michelle says comfort zones are safe, but getting out of that promotes growth. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
You if you're stuck in your comfort zone, you're not gonna progress from there. The same way, like if you continuously let someone bother you or offend you, they're gonna keep doing it if they don't know. And that's not entirely, like I think I said last time, like it's never one person's fault. It's always your fault too. For like, we're
talking about interactions, but what about
hold on, let me read the rest of
okay. What about you reading the rest of the comments?
Yeah. Thank you. Love you. Thank you. Love you. Kisses. Terry says, better to confront the situation before tempers flare and it becomes an angry confrontation. That's what I do.
Still a confrontation.
That's what I do. Terry, you just called me out. Sammy said, ooh, we all know I try to avoid conflict. Do you? I don't think I get the
is that sarcasm font? I don't know. I don't know her.
I don't see her as a big I guess I can see that in not in Brittany and Sammy. Joe said that Brittany really knows WTF she's talking about. She said,
we all know each other.
before I moved out, I would also see red when my parents peppered me with perfectly innocent questions. Okay, so it's not just me. The questions are it's when it's like question after question after question. And my mom does not get to the point. Like, can you just ask me, can we go get breakfast this morning? If she would have started with that, I would have been like, oh, sorry, I have plans at 11. I would have answered all of her questions in my next statement had you just gotten to the damn point.
Don't tell me what to do.
I'm telling you what to do.
Don't do that.
Amy Reed says good morning. And then Joe said the millennial representation we desperately need.
Yes.
Well, maybe we need to start having like
More millennials.
I think we should start doing like first Fridays. We invite a millennial.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Good idea.
I know a lot of millennials.
There you go.
Because all my friends are old.
Only once a month though. We can only handle so much of you millennials.
Yeah, for real.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I don't even know what the cutoff is.
Amy said, leading truth with communication of grace is for me. Yeah, you have to be graceful. You have to be, what's the word? Compassionate. If you're just coming at somebody like, well, you did this and you did this and you did this, who's going to hear you? Who's going to listen to that? And who's going to like receive?
Well, if you know, if you know the person you're dealing with too fairly well, you know how you have to approach it. Not you just yell at me, but other people, you know how you have to approach it.
Michelle said she's excited to co-host. Joe said Millennial Fridays. And then
not every Friday.
Maddie called me out. She said, Abby, you're barely Gen Z. That is true. That is true. First of all, there's no, what'd you say?
What is the I was just saying, yeah, barely. I'm not sure.
Joe said the cutoff.
I'm Googling it.
For millennial is whoever Abby feels like making fun of, TBH.
Yeah.
That is true. And I got more people.
She's confronting you. They're all confronting
Everyone's confronting me today.
Nobody's in their comfort zone.
Let me just say there's no like scientific cutoff. It's all just kind of based off of like culture and trends and vibes. At one point I did consider myself a millennial, but as y'all millennials started millennialing, I was like, oh no. I'm not one of you. I definitely resonate more with Gen Z. My mom's going to Google it. We're going to bring facts to you guys.
Okay.
1996?
1981
to 1996.
There's a few people on here that are definitely, okay. 81 to 96. So you are indeed not a millennial. That would make them 28 to 43 years old.
What did I say? Joe said, I knew you were going to say vibes. Yeah, it is all about the vibes. It's 100% about the vibes.
Yes.
100%. In fact, the other night, we were me and some friends were talking in a circle, and I was the youngest one in the group, only one in my 20s, barely. There's one person that's about to be in their 30s. And they're all in the chat. Sammy came up and she had a Bucky shirt on, and I go, oh, Busies, because that's like a joke on TikTok. And me and two other people were the only people that were like on TikTok like that. So we started laughing. Everyone was like, it's Bucky.
Oh my gosh. You remember. You remember. So my ex and I used to jokingly mispronounce things. And so like we used to always say fox paw. So
instead of faux pas.
Yeah. So we were in front of this girl who, whatever. Anyway. And so he goes, well, and I said, well, that's a fox paw. And she goes, Jennifer, it's faux pas. And I'm like,
she confronted you.
I'm like, this is awkward. And I was like, oh yeah.
How do you feel about confronting someone like on social media? Like,
people don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah.
People I don't know confront me on social media about things.
Because you're hiding behind your computer screen, and people can just, say the meanest things in the world, and it doesn't really matter because it's like, oh, well, they don't know me. They don't know who I am, and I think that's like really down and disgusting.
Well, what's funny about it is like, we talked a couple episodes about our first hater. We have a couple. We have a couple. Not like haters. People who leave crappy comments on our.
I love it.
Girl. And they're on our shorts, right? So they don't know the context, right? They're just leaving it on the little 30-second clip. And honestly, it's like the biggest thrill when I see that we have a comment. I'm like, yes, because like honestly, you took your energy to write something crappy to people you don't know in a context you haven't looked up. I'm like, winning.
I think people are braver on the internet. They have a layer of like safety. Like, this person is going to come beat me up. But I will say, I kind of like social media beef because I have more time to like really craft my response. I'm going to tell the story about, you'll know once I start talking about it. I'm going to tell a story about
like Brittany knows apparently. Do I know?
Did I tell her? I may have.
No, I was just agreeing with what you said. But yeah, tell the story.
We're all waiting.
So I am not a Trumper. I'm not super into politics as much as I used to be, but I'm not a Trump kind of girl. Don't love him. I don't really care for most men.
Be careful what you say. I don't know which instance you're talking about. But.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
I'm gonna say what I want to say.
Never mind.
I had shared a post online that was kind of comparing Joe Biden to Donald Trump. I don't even remember what it was, but the image had Donald Trump in it, and also it was like a comparing image. It was like they were on top of each other, and I shared it, and I said something about Donald Trump, right? And somebody, one of my mom's friends.
Okay, I didn't know which one you were going. Okay,
yeah, she comments and basically saying that I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't remember. I'm not going to sit here and reiterate everything that was said, but she's going back and forth with me, and she goes, "This post has nothing to do with Donald Trump." And I said, "Girl," and she had something. Oh no, okay, yes, Donald Trump was literally in the picture, right? And she was like, "This has nothing to do with Donald Trump." I'm like, "He's in the photo." And she goes, "Oh, sorry, I didn't have my glasses." And then so I left a big long response, and I ended it with, "Hope you find your glasses." Can I get a boom?
My friend.
It was her friend. And then the friend.
I definitely heard about it.
Yeah, the friend goes to my mom. And keep in mind, I'm like 21, 22 at this point. I'm a grown lady. And she goes to my mom, "Well, Abby's saying all this and this." And my mom's like, "She's a grown lady."
I said she's an adult and that's her Facebook. You can unfollow.
You commented on
I'm like,
my post. I don't comment on people's stuff like that.
I was really like, have you met Abby? I'm her mother, but she, like
I'm very big on the block button is free. Girl, block me. But you don't like it? Block me. I don't need you.
I feel like Abby is more on the confrontational side, not the comfort zone.
Maybe I'm a little more confident.
But what about confronting your comfort zone? What?
Brittany, give us some of that.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes that can be hard because people don't want to get out of their comfort zones, right? But you know that you have to step out of it at times, right? You got to confront that and be like, really just taking a chance and taking a step and being like, okay, I recognize that maybe my comfort zone is not for me anymore, or maybe it's become toxic or something like that. It's like having the maturity and the emotional intelligence, like the last episode.
Oh, come on!
To recognize that. Yeah, to recognize
that's episode 10. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, being able to recognize that and making the necessary changes for that, that speaks volumes too. So,
well, you guys are both performers. You're both in the Houston Show Choir. Shout out to Houston Show Choir.
We have a show on June 13th. Buy tickets, girl.
Wait, we'll post it on Facebook.
Yeah, we'll post it on our Facebook so you guys can buy tickets. Okay. Yes.
I already bought tickets, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Moving on. I bought tickets to something. So how do you feel about performing? Is that outside your comfort zone, or have you always been like, we'll ask Brittany because I pretty much know you. Have you always been like a performer, or was that stepping outside of your comfort zone?
I feel like, I don't know, to be quite honest. I mean, I've always performed, whether it be like singing, this is different. I've always played an instrument. That was nothing because it's like, doing that with my skills. But I still, to this day, I get nervous before a big performance, a big anything, a big interview like this. I was telling Abby before we started, I had a dream that I like completely missed the
Yeah, that's probably me.
Like, I always have some big anxiety provoking event before I have to like do something. But usually once I get up there, once I get going, especially like with the choir, once I'm like with everybody, like it's really no big thing. Like I can perform. I love to shine whenever.
Yeah.
I cannot. And I get like, so what we're doing now was outside of my comfort zone. So I just told this story last night. They're like, well, how did you get into this? And you're pretty good at it. And I'm like, I would have never thought, right? Abby was on the Love and Victory show, had invited me to be a guest. And that first time I was singing.
You were sweating.
Oh, I'm sweating now because I'm drinking coffee, but because I'm a glutton for punishment. But I was sweating. I was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, if you watch it back, I'm like fidgeting. I'm still fidgety. I guess I'm just fidgety, but I was just super nervous. And then at the end, I liked it. By the second, third, fourth time I was on there, I was looking forward to it. And then we started doing this. But I'm not. I don't even like to talk on conference calls at work. I'm not that person at all. So this was a huge step. I did it for her because I'll pretty much do anything for her, as she knows, right? So, but it ended up being something I really liked. So that's cool. And now I'm doing it with her, which is even better.
Yeah. And it's like,
she's forced to talk to me for 1 hour a week.
you do want to, if you're stepping outside your comfort zone, you do want to like ease into it, right? You don't want to go so far out that like now your comfort square is like smaller. You know what I'm saying? Because if you overdo something, then that kind of sets you back further, I think. But I do want to talk about Brittany and the choir for a second, because my first interaction with Brittany, she was kind of a little confrontational, and that
makes like the best friend. I will tell you that my best friends were people who did not like me initially, or said like they talked about my my RBF.
You do have an RBF. But so what had happened was we were in rehearsal, right? And I don't think I'd ever even spoken to Brittany. And we're dancing, and your girl I was messing up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But it was my first season. I, just wasn't as prepared as I should have been. I was messing up. And Brittany comes up to me. I'm so glad we're like close now, because at first I remember telling somebody else, I'm like, this. She goes, there's like videos online of the choreography, right?
So she does confront.
She does confront.
But I didn't know if you knew or not, because I knew it was your first season.
Okay, so she was actually. She was probably being helpful.
There was another person too. We were practicing the vocals part of it, and the girl was like, "I'm gonna send you like the song so you can practice at home." I was like, "These people."
I will say in both cases though. Look, I'm gonna be a little.
They were being nice about it, but I wasn't. My ego was like, "Girl,
I'm gonna bring the rainbow and sunshine right now." in that though, was that the most productive way to confront somebody? Yes. Yeah. I'm not trying to insult you, but I'm going to give you the tools you need, because clearly you need them.
Yeah.
I mean, in both instances, it was the best way to handle it.
She wasn't being rude at all. My ego, I was like, does she think I'm stupid? Like, when something's going on with your computer and someone's like, well, did you try restarting it?
Oh man.
That is like the most offensive thing to say. I like do techie things. Yes, girl. I restarted the computer. Like, and I'm just the type of person, like I often, that's what rubs me the wrong way. If I feel like my intelligence is being questioned, you know what I'm saying?
I think you have to ask that. Okay, just side note.
But anyways, me and Brittany are cool. That was like, sorry, I just want to.
Doesn't matter.
Me and Brittany are cool, and we became. I was actually mad. I was just kind of like, all right, girl,
keep talking, Brittany, because she forgot what she was going to roast me about. So, see, let's move on.
Oh no! Did you? No. Oh. I also do want to read some comments because we got some more since we've started this conversation.
We're gonna sell T-shirts, by the way.
Sammy said, that's so crazy to me. I feel like I'm nicer. Oh, wait, I already said that, I think. And then Sammy said, when I do confront someone, I try to leave my emotions out of it and stick to just the facts.
Yeah, that's true. I bring all the emotions.
That's a hard thing to do, though, sometimes.
That would be hard.
Yeah. Stephanie B says, hey, ladies. Hey, girl. We love you. Joe said, people really don't like confronting themselves and owning up to their flaws and mistakes and trying to do better. Sadly, a lot of people just don't bother. And that's what we talked about last week.
Yeah, I feel like we're overlapping, but that's good.
What did we talk about last week? Self-reflection.
Yeah, well, empathy, emotional intelligence.
Yeah. And then Joe said, yes, HSC represent. Sammy said, Brittany is so slay on stage. And then she said, well, so is Abby. She's all right, I guess. And then Joe said, poor Brittany thought she was being a good Samaritan.
I really did.
Yes, women in STEM. Well, and that's kind of the thing about confrontation, right? Is like, you were being good. Like, you were trying to be helpful. Yeah. I, in my own head, took it some kind of way. And you can't always control how someone else is going to take what you say. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong or someone does something wrong. Just because you
said that last week about, hey, your jeans are cute. What do you mean? What's wrong with them? Taking how someone says
especially if you don't like know someone really well. You know what I'm saying? And so
why do we go negative?
What do you mean?
Like when somebody says something, a lot of times our mind goes to the next. And I am like, this is my favorite petty thing that I do. And I don't even know. Sometimes I know it's petty, right? But if someone says something rude to me, I will act like I took it in the most positive way. Oh my God, thanks.
Oh, like if they're being, yeah.
Yeah.
I do flip it. If someone's like intentionally being rude, I'm like, oh, you're obsessed with me. You love me. But if being like nice.
I'm giving away all my secrets right now. So
that's okay.
Sorry for anybody
the show
I've
is
done
therapy.
this to.
I do want to take a quick break.
Oh, we're breaking.
We're going to break today.
Okay.
Because I need to find the am I the asshole. So we're going to take a quick break.
Can we use someone from last week? No? Okay.
Oh, yeah, because we didn't do it last week. Okay, then we don't need to take a break. Never mind. We'll keep going. How do we want to proceed?
Did you have a song that you wanted to play? Or what?
No, I just, okay. So we read comments. What were we going to say? Oh, I was going to call you out. That's what I was going to do. Sorry, my bad. Let's call Jennifer out for a second.
What'd I do now?
Lots of things.
I feel like I don't only do that.
Something that Jennifer does, and I'm Jennifer's therapist.
Help me. Help me.
Unpaid therapist. I'm her IT person, unpaid. I'm your producer, unpaid. And I'm your therapist.
I'm your landlord, unpaid.
You are. Regardless. So something that Jennifer does, and I'm gonna keep it very but you may have someone in your life who like rubs you wrong or like does something that bothers you. And you will not address it with that person. You expect them to read your mind. Like you expect them to be to do what you would do. And I think all of us kind of do that. That's why you get offended by things. You're like, well, I wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So, but you don't often advocate for yourself in the right ways, I think. At all, actually. I think you're better about it now. Since you turned 50, I do think you did a little turnaround, a little whoop. But you tend to bottle things up, and then I hear all of it. Well, and the person who bothered you hears nothing. And I'm like,
I think
I'm talking about a certain instance. I'll talk about it after the show.
You're talking about the one I get mad at every day?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
not her. I do have a everyday rant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who you're talking about, so we'll move on.
Okay. But yeah, so Brittany, do you feel like, and I know you said you're not like a super confrontational person, right? But like, how do you feel when it comes to like advocating for yourself? Like if someone you feel like maybe they did you wrong or took advantage of you?
To me, I feel like that's very important, especially when I feel like I'm wronged. I try to stick up for myself as best as I can in any situation, even when it's like anything that has to do with work as well. There are a lot of things like in my previous job that like I confronted a lot, but nothing ever came of it type of thing. And so it was like, kind of one of the reasons why I had to step away from that. And so I think it's very important whenever you're being wrong that you do need to stand up for yourself, and no matter what the situation is, especially if someone's taking advantage of you. But you also should not let people take advantage of you as well.
It shouldn't get to that point.
It shouldn't get to that point, no.
Yeah. We have a question that I think is good because
I'm looking at one of the comments.
Well, we can read them. Okay, so Coach Anna said, "Oh, so you're obsessed with me." She was quoting what I said. Kristen said, "We're all Jennifer's therapists." Richard said, "This is getting good."
That's what I'm talking about. So Richard is you know what I'm saying? Richard is Abigail's father and my ex-husband. So when he said this is getting good, I'm like, I mean, do you want it to get good? Because it can get real good right now.
It can get real good.
I'm 50 now. I got things to say.
But Sasha asked us, how do you both handle being confronted? That's a good little spin on it.
Yeah. Not great.
Should I go first? I will. I'll go first. So when it comes to being confronted, I've tried to be better about this because I used to be really like all the time. And she said people usually, she said people usually go on the defense as their initial reaction. Yeah. I think even like the most healthiest people do that, right? Because like I said, I think most people are inherently good and have good intentions. So, when someone confronts you about something, your initial reaction would be like, well, that's not how that happened. Or that's not what I meant.
We definitely addressed that last week too.
Yeah.
And then the worst thing to do is go, that didn't happen. Right. Now you're calling the person a liar.
Yeah.
So it's tough when I guess it would depend on the nature of it.
And it also depends on how I'm being confronted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How it's being stated and what's being said. Like,
Yeah. Like definitely, they always say, a lot of therapists say, use I statements, not you statements. And I'm not perfect at that, but I do really, when I'm confronting someone, I try to confront them in a way that I would want to be confronted about something.
I feel like you got to be careful with I statements too, though, because if someone comes at me with a bunch of I statements, I'm like, so it's all about you?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But it's better than like pointing the blame and pointing the finger and shifting the blame. Brittany, how do you handle being confronted?
So I was just getting ready to say, the last time that I was confronted by a friend of mine that I've known from like about 20 something years. And
oh, that's a long time, girl.
It is a long time.
It was an old
So the way he confronted me, like I let this person stay in my home for an amount of time that shouldn't have been that amount of time, but I let this person stay in my home, and this person came up, like I'm laying in my bed just like doom scrolling on my phone, and he comes into my room, stands right there, right next to my bed, and then just starts going off on me. And the whole time I'm laying there and I'm just listening,
because like scrolling.
No, at that point I stopped scrolling because I knew he was coming from a place of hurt. And I knew that like he had just gone through like a life-changing event like a few months prior, which is why I'd opened my home up for him. And so, but he sat there and just criticized me about everything. And then after a while, it started becoming things that I knew wasn't true. And so I just, at that point, I knew that he was hurt. I just had to let him get it all out, and he was confronting me because he had an issue with me and the way that he perceived that I was treating him. And so, at that point, there was really not much else that I could have put on that because, I basically had to acknowledge, yes, your feelings are valid. Yes, everything you're telling me is probably true in your mind, but is not always necessarily true, like coming from me, or
because you see things differently when you're emotional too.
Exactly. And so I knew it was coming from like an emotional state. So, I just let him vent, and then he got mad, stormed out, and left my house, which is what I really wanted him to do, was to leave. But
that was going to be my next question was, do you think there was maybe unintentional from you, but do you think his feelings were valid because you're like, you have outstayed your welcome, and maybe you weren't saying that, but you could, like, the energy was saying that?
Yeah.
And then on his token, that could be he's taking it that way because he knows he's outstayed. I think it could be both of those things, but
yeah. Well, and when it comes to like being confronted too, I don't think it's, like I said, I think it's human reaction to get defensive at first. But then at some point you need to come to see the person for where they're at and understand I may not have the same perception of the situation as you do. And if you care about that person, you want to see things from their perspective and see like, okay, I may not see it that way. Maybe it wouldn't have bothered me as much, but clearly you're upset. So I'm gonna, I don't necessarily think you have to like initially apologize. And I think we should do a whole episode on apologizing too, because I think apologies get sticky too, because we feel like someone's saying sorry just to say sorry. You know what I mean? But you do want to hear that, like, even if you don't hear the words, I'm sorry, or I apologize, you do want to hear that the person at least says, I understand why you feel the way you feel. Even if I don't necessarily feel sorry for my actions, I understand why you took them the way you did. And for that, I apologize. Like, even if you want to, say you're sorry for that.
Or, I mean,
I'm sorry my actions hurt you, whether I meant to or not.
Well, I mean, like the whole point of like a lot of this stuff is just to come, if you want to, with whatever type of relationship it is, I would hope with like parents, siblings, family, that kind of thing, you do, but friendships sometimes can't be mended. But the whole point is to come to like a negotiation, right? To come to a middle ground.
I think a lot of people.
What's it?
Sorry,
Brother
go
Carter.
ahead.
Shout out to Brother Carter. Compromise. He loves that word. Compromise, find something that, works for the both of you, which is not, calling somebody out. Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to call me out because I'm not good at keeping in contact, which is, I'm not, so I'm calling myself out right now. Then, I've said this on previous episodes, but call to my strong points, which are, I'm very much about, if I make a commitment, I'll stand by it.
Yeah.
So if you want me to be better at contacting you, put it on my calendar that I'm going to call you every Saturday. I'm good at keeping commitments, so I'll call you. Come to play to your all strong points and figure out how you can mend fences and not make anybody else like the bad,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are more quick.
I'm so sorry. I'm hitting the table repeatedly. My bad.
I think people are more quick to end friendships than relationships a lot of the time. Like, how many times do you hear about like the girls like, oh, well, and I'm just using like random examples that I actually saw. There's this girl that I follow on Instagram, an old friend of mine, and she posted something that said like, tell me about like a breakup, a best friend breakup. And she was posting the responses she got. They were all anonymous. She was posting all the responses she got. And a lot of them were saying like, my friend tried to get with my man. And it's like, but you're still referring to him as your man. Yeah. You're staying with the man for like,
even they need to be held accountable too.
Right. Even like, and let's say the man didn't do anything. Well, first of all, men lie. Let's start with that. Entertaining it is still wrong, but you're so quick to drop the friend like, oh, she's weird. She tried to follow my man on Instagram. Why'd he follow her back? Why'd he like her bikini picture from 2 years ago? You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're so quick to drop your girl, but not your stupid man.
I can't.
I mean,
once again, Abby has no comfort zone. Like she'll step outside. She'll say whatever.
I will. All right. Anything else? Because we're gonna move on to "Am I the Asshole?" Does anyone want to say anything else about confront or comfort?
Brittany.
I just really want to say that I love my comfort zone.
That's why it's called a comfort zone, right?
Exactly. So it's hard to step out sometimes.
It really is. It really is. I'm not doing a wonderful job of it, but I don't like doing anything by myself, right? But I've been by myself for kind of a long time now, and I'm like, well, I got to get out of my house. So I went to the mall last weekend all by myself.
You did?
I did.
Yeah.
I was more fun with a friend, but I didn't have any friends available. So I went to the mall and, bought some things.
Yeah. I am often outside of my comfort zone. But my comfort zone, like you said, it's not a small comfort. It's big. There's a lot of things that are pretty adventurous that are still within my comfort zone.
You go to restaurants. I mean, you do
I'll
all
sit down at a restaurant by myself. I do not care.
The only time, when I used to travel for work, I would go to restaurants by myself because I didn't really have much of a choice. But someone had told me, which was very good advice for anybody who doesn't like to do this. If you go to a restaurant and you go sit at the bar, not necessarily to drink, but you order, then it feels less awkward when you're by yourself. Because you're not at a table with an NPC across from you, know. Yeah. And then, you might get the bartender to chat with you a little bit while you're eating or whatnot. I went to Chicago and there was 4 of us that were clearly on a business trip all sitting at the bar. And then we all ended up talking to each other. It was actually pretty cool.
Well, that's what happens when you step outside your comfort zone. You're almost always rewarded for it.
But I struggle with it home, here. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I'm afraid I'm going to run into somebody. I don't
mean in your hometown?
Yeah, I figure if I'm going to be alone, I might as well just get takeout and go home, I guess.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to, step out.
I then have to shower and get dressed.
I want to read some comments and then we'll move on to Am I the Asshole? Also, we have jingles coming in the next few months.
Oh yeah, I don't know what I'm allowed to say about that. So.
Okay, just a teaser. We're having some jingles coming. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be fun.
We're gonna get some intro music.
Yes. Coach Anna says, yeah, you need to speak your feelings out and not swallow them because then you're repressed and resentful. I do struggle with resentment. I do bottle things up and then I end up resenting the person and blaming them when it could have
for you not speaking up.
For me not speaking, where it could have been resolved if I would have just spoke up. Keeman said, oh yeah, they will drop the friend before the man, not acknowledging that the man didn't stay faithful. Facts. Chrissy Bowl says truth. Kristen says men lie.
I know.
Aaliyah said, say that, Abby, talk your stuff. Haley said, I love y'all so much. This is so good. Oh, thank you, Haley.
Thanks,
thank you all for tuning in today. This has been so fun. Thank you, Brittany, for coming on.
Yes, thanks for having me.
And bringing your friends.
Yeah. Awesome. And don't forget, before we move on to Am I the Asshole, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please subscribe. Please like. Follow us on social media.
We're going for triple digits.
We're going for triple digits. We're on all platforms, Journeys, Ambitions, except for Twitter. It's this thing, J_A_radio. But Twitter's kind of not that important. Follow Instagram and Facebook for sure, and TikTok.
She says that because I'm the one doing it. So if you think it's weird, it's me.
All right. Now it is time for Am I the Asshole? So this was one that we actually prepared for last week for Easter. So it's an Easter themed one. It's kind of long. I'm going to read really fast.
Okay, 1 minute.
I read faster than you. My wife, 38 female, and I, 39 male, have been married for 12 years and have 3 kids, 11, 8, and 6. We live reasonably close to family on both sides. Our house isn't huge by any means, but it's big enough for... I didn't read the header, but it's okay. But it's big enough for our family. However, no one else on my wife's side of the family lives in a house. Her siblings all either rent homes with roommates or live in apartments. Her parents downsized to a smaller townhome about 5 years ago. As a result, anytime her family wants to get together for a holiday or special occasion, we are the ones who end up hosting. It's not even a discussion with her family anymore. Everyone just assumes that we are going to be the ones who host. We at least rotate major holidays between my family and hers, but my siblings and parents can also host gatherings, so hosting duties are spread out amongst all of us. But every Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, Easter, etc. that we spend with her family, we host. And her family are not the best guests. They will bring food if we ask, but anytime there's cleanup or other help, they are nowhere to be found. I have expressed my dislike of this arrangement to my wife numerous times. She has insisted that I not say anything to her family. Ooh, this has to do with confronting. Anyway, she has insisted that I not say anything to her family about it and to let her handle it. However, nothing has ever changed. We hosted Christmas for her family this year, and it sucked. People showed up late, forgot the food they were supposed to bring. No one helped with cleaning. People let their kids make messes, etc. Same old story as every other time. After that, I told my wife I was done. I told her I don't want to host her family until someone else on her family steps up and hosts something, or we book some other venue, and I'll chip in for it. She promised to talk to her family about it and figure something out for the next holiday. For Easter this year, we were supposed to just have it be our family, no extended family. But a couple weeks ago, my wife met up with her mom and sister for lunch. When she got home, she informed me that she talked to them about how hard hosting Christmas was. She said her mom and sister agreed that they would do better and offered to prove it to us on Easter, and my wife agreed. We got into a huge fight over it. I told my wife that she is on her own for this one. I told her I would be spending the entirety of Easter weekend with my family, and I'll take any kids with me that want to come. But I am not going to be helping with any of the hosting duties whatsoever. She thinks I'm overreacting and that I need to give her family this final chance because her mom and sister seemed really sincere during their talk. I told her I don't care what they say. I'm not going to be involved. I'm not going to be involved at all because I won't be able to hold my tongue this time and don't want it to come to that. She's not happy with me, but I really don't care. To top it all off, all 3 of our kids want to come spend the weekend with me instead of staying home. Ooh, the kids don't even want to spend time with your family. So, is this person the asshole basically for not giving the family... Let me read the header so we can kind of break it down into one question. Sorry. The header is, am I the asshole for leaving for the weekend after my wife agreed to host Easter at our house without consulting me? Consensus, go. And go.
I think he's the asshole. He's been married for 12 years. They switch off with his family, which doesn't seem to be a problem. Sorry, you're going to have to take her family. Like, that's part of the marriage.
Yeah.
I've done lots of things in marriages that I didn't really want to do, but I did it for my spouse. Also, he can confront the family. They're his family now too. He doesn't need to leave
what I
it
was
up to
going
her.
to say.
That's her awkward now position to talk to her mom and sister and everybody else. And they said, we understand, let me prove it to you that we're going to do better. So stay there. And if they don't do better, confront them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Husband, don't take your kids and run off to your family. That's he's the asshole.
Yeah, he is kind of running away from problems, staying in his comfort zone of not. Yeah. Well, and it sounds
I get his frustration, but he's, again, 12 years of marriage and 3 children. These are your family members too.
Yeah.
I have spoken up to in-laws before.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that it was easier for me to do it than my spouse, So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that that's just a sucky move.
I'm kind of in the middle because there is, I think he should give the family a chance, right? Because it sounds like the wife did confront the family and came to a resolve, and he's not even letting it get there. So it's kind of like, had she
he should have her back. And if they don't do the things they said, then he can pull them inside and say, hey, I understand my wife spoke to you about this and you said you're going to prove it and you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And so, she's sick of actually he could use it and defend her. She's tired of cleaning up after y'all. She's tired of covering for y'all. She's, so we're not going to host anymore because you're not stepping up. He can say it and not even say it in a super mean way, but obviously if he takes himself and his kids away, it's going to make the household, everyone's going to say, well, where did he go? Where are your kids? And then,
which is kind of creates this well, where's your husband? Because people are going to question that. They're going to be like, well, where's your husband? Where are your kids? Why aren't they spending Easter with us? Especially, if he never spoke up and said how he felt. There was another, am I the asshole?
What kind of husband are you that really just clean up and shut up? The hell?
There was another, am I the asshole?
Go grill some hot dogs outside and suck it up.
Where this man and his wife, the guy always had his guy friends over. And he was like, it's boys' night.
That's different.
I'm not done.
I'm just kidding.
He would always have boys' night or whatever. And he was like, no, it's boys' night. Nobody brought their wives or anything. So his wife obviously lives in the home. And she was like, he sees it as he's hosting these events. But I'm the one, she's like, all he does is grill the meat. She goes, I make all the sides. I clean up all the dishes. I make sure that we're stocked with beer, whatever these men need. And then she goes and then I'm stuck cleaning. And she confronted him and said, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but she basically was like, I don't really want to, this is a lot of work for me for you to just have a fun time. Which is fine once in a while, but right. You are consistently doing this. And now I'm not even having a good time because these men aren't bringing their wives. I can't even kiki with my girls or whatever. Right. And the guy was like, well, it's fine, babe. I got it. I'm going to handle it. And all these men had was the meat that he gripped, no sides. No, he didn't realize the amount of work that went into it. And so, if this man feels so strongly about well, you guys never host, you guys don't clean up or anything. Yeah, he needs to make it a family meeting kind of thing at the next gathering. And you can't just, I do believe in giving people chances, right? And this is kind of what I was talking about with you earlier, if you just decide that you're done with something and you write something off or write somebody off or say, I'm not going to do X, Y, Z anymore. And you've made the decision and that person hasn't even had a chance to redeem themselves. That's not fair, So he needs to at the next gathering, suck it up a couple more holidays or whatever at the next gathering and just say, hey guys, we host all the time. It
does sound like
it takes a toll.
It does sound like she didn't confront her family immediately. He said it and she kind of
beat around the bush.
Yeah, kind of put it off until the last minute. But I mean, it's hard, right? But it sounds like she did do it. And then that, whatever.
Yeah, didn't even see it through.
I just think it's not like you've been married or it's not even that's your boyfriend, girlfriend, or, of a year.
You guys are married, have 3 kids.
Yeah. And that's not a good example to set for your children either, to separate them from their mom on Easter,
yeah.
Give me a break.
And at a certain point when you're married, that is a legal tie to somebody. You got to put up with their family, whether you like them or not, at least a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Brittany, do you have anything else to say before I go to the comments?
I was just going to say he was probably over there at his parents' house talking crap about everybody too.
Yeah.
Right,
which isn't nice.
With the freaking kids there,
his mom probably waits on him, and
that's what he sounds like.
We don't even know. He's a mama's boy. His mom's over there coddling him.
Yeah.
So Haley said he's an ass. That's his wife and kids.
Yeah.
Michelle said he's the asshole. Coach Anna said drop her. I agree with the husband, and he definitely should talk to the family. But she didn't say, listen.
Oh,
yeah.
Got it.
I agree with the husband, and he definitely should talk to the family. Be a man and a good son-in-law.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Give them a chance to read, because these are your family. It's not like these are people that you don't see or don't have to do. You have to be more straightforward with people that you like have to deal with.
Yeah, you taking off to mommy's house for the weekend is setting like that's gonna that you think that's simple. That's gonna take years to recover from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Holidays are big.
It's gonna set a big animosity, a big like, oh, was so-and-so gonna show up this year, or he's gonna throw a tantrum?
Yeah.
Like that's gonna follow you, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
It's gonna be hard to recover.
bad news guy.
Chrissy Bolt says, agreed. Andy, that's her husband, whatever. Andy stays out of any issues with his mother and I have, as he should. That's I got beef with your mama. That's not your problem.
Right.
That's between me and your mom. She also said, and if Andy has an issue with something, he can chat with the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That goes back to advocating for yourself. I do think when you're in a partnership with somebody, it is important to back the other person up. Even I think personally, my belief, and I've never been married, I think if you're like married to someone, you should back that person up. Even if you don't necessarily agree with them, like back them up and like support them. And then behind closed doors, be like, hey, can we find a different maybe compromise or a different solution here? Because I don't
agree with that too.
I don't necessarily think that you're going about it the right way.
Well, I think he could even, approach her family. Like it's making a lot of work for her.
Yeah.
And myself, of course, but also work for her. And it hurts her feelings when you guys don't come through, and she provides the home for every holiday. She's willing to do that, but you guys need to do your part and it's hurting your feelings. And that's my wife and I blah, blah, blah. And she won't say anything to you because she loves you. So because I love her, I'm going to say something.
Defend both
really, that's what it really comes down to.
Because it's our home. It's not your home.
Exactly.
It's our home that we have to protect.
Right.
Yeah,
so this
and they were still understanding
your
at the end of
fist
the day.
down and running away to your mom's house is just toxic masculinity. I've literally just wanted to say the term toxic masculinity.
Haley said, I would be livid if my hubby did that and took the kids. Instead of all that, let's talk about the situation. And then he can also talk to the family. And this was was this a recurring issue or what?
It seemed like it was.
Yeah.
But not confronted.
Yeah. Which is now, it's also your fault. You can't
comfort or confrontation. See what we did there?
Joe said, it seems like the fact that she invited them over without asking him, especially after he talked to her about not wanting to host, that was the issue, which is fair, but he shouldn't run away. That is true.
I did. Yes. And I think that was probably because it is her family. And she said, hey, we're not going to host, that they pressure, oh, just let us prove to you. We'll do everything. Just let us have, it's probably, which again, if he'd been present, he could have put some sort of emphasis on, no. Yeah.
Well, and like,
but I mean, I agree.
Even talk about like blaming, like, if I like want to get out of something, I'll be like, well, my mom said I can't. I don't care how old I get. My mom said no. My mom said no. Sorry, mama said no. And so I think to a certain degree, because you want to keep, you don't always want to throw your partner under the bus. But in that instance, it could be like, no, my husband, he just, he's really put his foot down on this and I have to respect him as his wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way to kind of like use the other person without throwing them completely under the bus, I think.
I probably shouldn't admit to this in case we still do it in the future. But yes, if Abby didn't want to drive her friends around, I would take her car and then tell her she wasn't allowed to have people in my car.
Yeah.
So she'd tell her friends, like, I mean, I have my mom's car, but I'm not allowed to have any passengers.
I have used that before. Keeman said, yeah, if he's so pressed about it, then he should say something or have the conversation with his wife about him stepping in to say something to her family.
Right.
Facts. Anna said, sometimes people take the dramatic, exaggerated approach of leaving with the kids, then confronting the real situation because that's all they know. And wifey was not really listening. Yeah, I think it's easier to make you think you're making this big statement to prove a point, where a lot of times a conversation.
Maybe proving a point. You're not proving the right point.
Yeah. A conversation is almost always more.
Like I said, then you're really just, and you know what? I mean, I'm not going to say that in my younger years, I didn't do some shady things in my marriage too, but, or put, like have those kind of things. Well, I'm not going unless blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I've 100% done that.
Yeah.
But but again, it follows you around, right? Because then that's what people remember for the next 5 holidays.
Yeah. Remember when he ditched you on Easter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Brittany, did you have something else to say?
Yeah, he was just the asshole in that situation. He really was.
He was, yeah. We have a couple more comments that I didn't see. Christian said, also sounds to me like her family takes advantage. Showing up with nothing or not helping for 12 years, he had to take a stand, but splitting the family up on a major holiday is pretty bad. Yeah. This one is kind of
that goes back to not confronting 12 years ago. If it's, you know what I mean? Like that,
you let
if
it
you're
fester,
allowing it to
and
happen,
now you have all this resentment.
and we've all done that. And I know Kristen, she's definitely done that. And I have too, where you get annoyed by it, but you don't want to say anything. And and then that's what happens. And yes, he got mad, but also take the responsibility of not saying anything for 12 years if it's been going on indeed that long, you know? So anyway.
Solomon says, air it out. It's an uncomfortable conversation, but needs to happen. K-Man Drum says, my husband doesn't come with the kids and I when I visit my side of the family because he doesn't want to.
But it's
there's a fine line between.
Sounds like he just doesn't. This was an abrupt, I'm not showing up and I'm taking
to prove a point. Yeah.
You know,
there is a certain like boundary to be set, right? Like if I'm like married to somebody and let's say their family's like just really nasty to me. Like it's not just like, because I can save face, whatever. I don't have to like get along with you to deal with you. But if like someone is like nasty to me and like bothering me and like actually like making like ruining my holiday time, then yes, maybe I would, you know. But I think it depends on the circumstance, because I do think when you're married, you have to kind of suck things up a little bit. But if their family is actively ruining all of your holidays, then yeah, why I wouldn't show up either. Solomon also said, been there and it sucks because you can make up with your partner, but your family did not make up with your partner the way you did, and they're holding resentment out of protecting their own. Mm-hmm. Agreed. You can't always tell if you're having problems in your relationship. You can't always talk as freely about it with your family because you may forgive that person, but they won't.
That's true.
I'm saying all this stuff, and then like as I'm sitting here thinking about things I've done in my marriages, I'm like, I mean, maybe I was an asshole in my marriage. I'm like, I've definitely been like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I'm not going there. So,
which like I said,
just do what I say, not as I do.
There's setting personal boundaries, and then there's sacrificing.
I'm also not married anymore. So.
And then there's sacrificing for the sake of your marriage. And you have to find that fine line. And there's not always a right or wrong answer, right? Like some things you may be doing it for your own best interest, and maybe it's not in the best interest of your marriage, but you have to put yourself first, because now if you're resentful and, you know, your holiday's ruined, you're going to ruin everyone else's time too.
I'm just saying, I know it's just the Am I the Asshole segment, but I probably should not be giving marital advice in any way. However, our commenters all also agreed. So yeah, look at me learning stuff.
Thank you guys for your contribution to Am I the Asshole today. It is time. Is that time to wrap things up?
Thank you all so much. What's what do we got next week? Do you know? Do we know?
I do not know at the top of my head.
Okay.
What next week is, but it's going to be a conversation.
It's going to be a good one. You should all come back.
Brittany, tell us just a little bit about what you thought of today's conversation. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to leave our audience with, where they can find you? Anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I just want to say thank you for having me out. I am not a whole lot of big on social media, but you can find me on.
I'm reading here every Friday at 11 a.m.
Yeah, but I'm on here. I am on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Camille Brittany. That's my middle name and my first name. Have it backwards, a little alias there. And then on Instagram, I am RB4L11. So RB, the number 4, L11. I know that's ridiculous.
What a username.
But it stands for Ratchet Bitch for Life. So.
Oh my God. I love that so
made it in my college days, okay?
Now we'll remember it.
Yeah, now I'll never forget.
I know.
Ratchet Bitch for Life.
Ratchet Bitch for Life 2011.
And on that note,
I love that actually.
I do too.
And then yes, of course, you guys don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget.
Yeah, we're gonna look it up
to like and subscribe. I am keeping my eye on all of you. You better share our content. We post reels, shorts, TikToks pretty much every day after the show. And so stay tuned for those, for a little clippy clip, a little funny moment. You can follow us on all platforms, Journeys Ambitions, except Twitter. Or X, whatever you want to call it.
_A_radio.
That's right.
In case anybody wonders, Journey's Ambitions was taken.
We are on LV with Val Radio. So don't forget to download the LV with Val app or go on lvlaval.com. There's 24/7 music. There's tons of other radio shows. There's Empower Hour with Coach Anna every Tuesday at 5:30. There's Tasteful and Toxic every Wednesday at 8 a.m. There's VK Career Conversations on the first Monday of every month at 8 a.m. I think that's everything. I think I'm not.
You say Love and Victory?
Oh, the Love and Victory Show, duh. Love and Victory Show every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. I'll be on that show tomorrow. So y'all can tune in. LV with Val.
I think it's going to be, I think the topic looks pretty good too. I don't remember what it was, but I was interested.
I don't remember what it is either.
Oh,
I don't know until I get there. But yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and have a great Friday and a great weekend. And I'll see you guys next Friday. Hey,
bye. Thank you.